from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Oh, I am in a good mood today. I am absolutely floating through the air after Indiana beat Michigan State 47-10. If those of you watching on our live stream and I see people coming in, I am wearing the IU hat again. I'm not taking this off until they go all the way, baby. College football playoff. Can you believe it? It is going to be Tuesday where they start talking about the rankings, and I still think that my Indiana Hoosiers will be rated too low, but that's fine. I don't really care. I mean, you just got to keep winning, whatever. I've taken the whole Kurt Signetti approach, just shrug my shoulders and say, every play, every quarter, every whatever. We're 0-0 going into this Michigan game. It's time to be 1-0 again. Michigan, a 12.5-point dog at home. I mean, who would have thought it? Indiana's a 12.5-point favorite at home against Michigan. It is a lot of fun, I can tell you that. College football is alive and well. I'm going to go through the scoreboard for you here shortly. I loved last night. I was not there. I wish I had been able to be in two places at once, but Craig Berube being honored at Enterprise Center is incredibly special. And I saw the video tribute that the Blues did. It was very cool, where they showed his speech before Game 7 in Boston where he's dropping F-bombs. And then they had him up on the board, and he looked up and he waved to the crowd, and the place roared as they showed a video of him lifting the cup. Just great times. He's always said he'll never be treated better than he was in St. Louis, and that is absolutely true. He is welcome here for a beer anytime he wants, especially at his beloved Hive on Ballas Road at Old Ballas. If you didn't know, that's his spot, the Hive. I wouldn't be surprised if he was at the Hive yesterday at one point, grabbing a sandwich and a beer. But good to see him. I was at Kyle McClellan's Brace for Impact 46 Gala. We raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. I was proud to MC that again and serve as auctioneer. And thank you to everyone who showed up at the Four Seasons. They had a record crowd there. And Kyle, the former Cardinal, had so many former Cardinals in the house last night. It was really cool to see everybody. I'm not going to go through the list by memory because I'll miss someone, but like Cardinals Hall of Famer Ray Lankford was there, among others. I mean, just a really special night at the Four Seasons. And my wife and daughter represented us at the Blues game, so they got a victory 4-2 over the Maple Leafs. Steve Chapman's going to join us at 10:45, Blues executive, to talk about that. Katie Shields, they picked up a win yesterday, SLU Women's Soccer. She's with us at 10:30. Coming up at 10:15, Bernie Miklas will be with us to talk about anything and everything, and you never know where our conversation will turn. So Bernie Miklas joins us at 10:15. At 11:05, our old buddy Joe Buck will be with us. He is calling the Monday night game tomorrow, Chiefs and Buccaneers in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. And, of course, he's a fellow IU alum, so we may go down that Indiana road as well. And then at 11:30, we will have NFL for you. The Cowboys and the Falcons live from Atlanta right here on KMOX. So a shorter show, but a lot of stuff to pack in. Joining us in studio, we are proud to have some very special guests. Sergeant Butch Crowley of the Lake St. Louis Police Department and his son Chase. They are observing the show today. Chase is going to be, I'll probably be working for him in about 10, 15 years. He's going to be a big sports media guy in this town. So I appreciate him being here as well. And we have a lot to get to. Let's run through the top 25. Let's actually do this. Let's separate the contenders from the pretenders in the college football playoff. Oregon is a contender. They are the number one team in the country. Looked at every bit like it, 38-17 over Michigan. Georgia is a contender. Despite what people will say that Georgia's Carson Beck is a turnover machine or they won't win with him. The quarterback threw 3 picks, yes, but he threw 2 touchdowns, and he found a way, and the Bulldogs, who struggled with the Gators, found a way to beat Florida 34-20. The mark of a great team is, even when you play poorly, you find a way to manage the game and win it. And, Georgia played poorly at Alabama. They fell behind 28-0, then took the lead. They ended up losing that game. It's the only loss on their resume, and I think they are a phenomenal football team that was really sloppy yesterday. They're a contender. They beat Florida 34-20. Ohio State is a contender. They beat Penn State 20-13. They looked great. I love their quarterback. I love their defense. I love everything that they do. And their play caller, Chip Kelly, called a near perfect game, I thought, offensively, and defensively, they are ferocious. Penn State, contender, but the problem that they have is they don't have a great resume. They have a soft schedule the rest of the way, and this was a fail for them. I mean, if they wanted to be considered a Big Ten champion or a big-time college football playoff contender, they needed to win this game. They did not. They are still a contender, though. Penn State will not be pushed around. They're going to be a really good team when it's all said and done, but Ohio State has absolutely jumped them in the conversation. Miami is a contender. They blasted Duke 53-31. As long as Cam Ward's on the field, it doesn't matter how many mistakes Miami makes. It does not matter. I mean, he's the best player in the country, I think. I think it's Cam Ward. I would take him over everybody right now. He's incredible. He threw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. He is a man. I mean, he gets the job done. Love him. Texas was idle, but they're a contender. Good team. Tennessee has moved into contender conversation, but shaky. You know, they beat Kentucky 28-18. They beat Alabama a couple of weeks ago. They need to be very careful. They get off to another slow start, they're going to get beat. I mean, they lost at Arkansas. That's the only loss on their resume. Arkansas got killed by Ole Miss yesterday. So, I mean, Tennessee is a contender, but I am putting them in the Penn State category, I think. Notre Dame was idle, contender. Their one loss is that bad one to Northern Illinois, but they came back with a very impressive win against Navy, and the rest of their schedule, they beat Texas A&M, is a good win for them. Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC. I mean, they should be able to handle those 4. But we'll see if Notre Dame wants to remain in the contender category. BYU's undefeated. They were off yesterday. I think they're going to make it to the Big 12 championship game. Then we're going to know what sort of contender they are. But I'll tell you, watch out for this next one. They have to play at Utah, and Utah has lost 4 in a row, but they were easily a top 25 preseason and probably a top 10. But I'll put BYU in the could be a contender category. A&M is no longer. They are a pretender. They got hammered by South Carolina, give up way too many big plays. Clemson's out, pretender. They lost yesterday to Louisville. Iowa State, that's a bad loss at home to Texas Tech when you're undefeated and everybody's kind of questioning. And that was my worry about Indiana. As much as I love my alma mater, is if they were to lose in their first true tough road game at Michigan State, I think they're done. I mean, they'd have to go to Ohio State. They've got Michigan coming next week. That's a daunting game against Ohio State. You cannot afford a blemish, and they just came out and ripped Michigan State yesterday. Indiana's a contender, without question. They've beaten everybody by 14-plus points. They have destroyed everybody on what some people believe is a softer schedule. Whatever, they didn't make the schedule. They've killed everyone, and now they're going to play Michigan next week, and they're a 12.5-point favorite. Alabama's idle, but they've put themselves back into contender conversation with their shutout of Missouri. They are 6-2. They have got to get it together. Boise State does have a loss, so that works against them in the contender category, and I think that pretty much takes care of it from there. College football playoff rankings come out. We are going to go to Bernie Miklas next. He is standing by on KMOX.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-221-6319. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now. 800-221-6319.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319, or go to oxcarcare.com.
You love your city, but let's be honest, the commute, not so much. That's where the free Odyssey app can help. Download the app and follow your local news station so you can get the latest traffic reports or find if your train is on time before you walk out your door. Knowing all this gives you time to think about the essential things like, do I have time to get coffee? Download the free Odyssey app and search your local news station. That's AUDACY.
Says here that Gray Bar is a distributor.
Yeah, we support electrical and datacom projects all over the country.
So you can get me the products I need, where and when I need them?
Yeah, thanks to our national logistics network.
Any industry?
Yeah, construction, industrial plants, schools, hospitals.
So you could say Gray Bar is much more than a distributor.
Yeah, you could say that. When you need a hand powering, connecting, or maintaining your operations, join the thousands of professionals who rely on Gray Bar to help keep them up and running. Yeah, Gray Bar does that.
Question: are you a maintain it before it breaks person, or a wait for a problem person? Get ahead of the game, or just see what happens type? Well, if you're the practical, forward-thinking sort, then get this. For a limited time, the rock-solid, fix-it-right guys at Jerry Kelly will come tune up and inspect your furnace for just $98. It's normally $143, and that's very little money for a lot of peace of mind. Check it out now at JerryKelly.com.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice, cornea surgeon with the latest knowledge and techniques for advanced eye care. 314-966-5000.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Bernie Miklas on KMOX is presented by Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Yes, he is. Bernie Miklas joins us live on KMOX. Good morning, Bernie.
What's going on, my friend? Good to be with you again.
Good to be with you. Look at this. I'm watching these comments on our social media channels here. Bill says, I grew up in Indy listening to you. Daniel says, go Hoosiers. Did we just tap into the Indiana fan base, Drew? What's going on here? All these Indiana people are coming in. Oh, I'm wearing an IU hat on the feed. I got you. Man, what a time this is, buddy.
You know, listen, that was really impressive, Indiana, because I know people want to think there's always a little thing you're wondering about. Last week is like, okay, their backup quarterback is good, but it's still going to be a test. He's got to fill in one game, and they won convincingly. Then they go to Michigan State yesterday, and they're down, I believe, 10-0 early, and it's like, okay, all right, what kind of response are we going to see? And they just destroyed Michigan State after that. I mean, they're really, really impressive, and I don't see anything flukish about it. I mean, they've been a dominant football team, and the defense doesn't get enough credit. The defense is superb, and that's the thing that, to me, distinguishes Indiana, because we know they can put points up, but that defense is really, really outstanding, and that's the thing probably people did not expect.
I agree with you. 15 tackles for loss is just obscene. I mean, it's just amazing what they were able to do to Michigan State, which is a good football team. I mean, Michigan State took Michigan down to the end the week before. Not a great team, but a good team playing at home, and Indiana looked pretty good. So when the college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday, I do think Indiana fans will be a little disappointed. They're not going to be as high as they think because Indiana still has not played a ranked team. They are 9-0. It's not their fault, but it's just what it is. I think there still will be doubters until they play Ohio State. They're going to play Michigan next week, though, and they've got to take care of business at home. Amazing to even say that, considering the history between Indiana and Michigan. But they've got a chance to be pretty good. I just ran through contenders, pretenders in the last segment. Who do you think jumps out to you as a legit college football playoff contender at this point, starting with Oregon?
Well, I think they'd be the number one seed right now. I think Georgia, despite not playing, there's been a couple games they haven't played great, and they had a fight to beat Georgia yesterday, but they got it done. Georgia's in there. I think Miami's definitely in there. And as far as the fourth, you can make a case for BYU. You could make a case for some other teams, and this is all going to shake out over time. But I think Tennessee, like if you were going to do a field today, and I don't have matchups or anything, but I think it would be the four I just mentioned. If you were going to go with the other eight, I think Indiana's in there. I think, again, as of today, Tennessee would be in there. Ohio State, of course. Boise State, of course. I think Penn State, even with that terrible loss yesterday, it's still only one loss. They would be in. I think Texas would be in. Notre Dame would be in. Alabama, probably, but there's a debate about some other teams in there as well. So that would be the 12 I'm looking at, and I could be wrong about Alabama, but we'll see. And I don't know about BYU as one of the top 4 seeds either.
Yeah, I do feel like in college football, it is what have you done for me lately? So if Alabama goes into Baton Rouge next week and puts it on LSU or even comes out of there with a win, that'll change the conversation. People will say, here we go.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And almost all of these teams, and I'm just going to focus briefly on the SEC. You got 5 teams with one loss. Now, a couple of them, they don't all have the same number of wins, but Georgia, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Texas, and LSU all have one loss. That was a horrendous loss for Texas A&M last night. Outscored 24-0 in the second half and wiped out 44-24. South Carolina is very impressive. But again, a team like Texas A&M can absolutely recover from that. And but then again, they're going to have to play Texas, which is a bitter rivalry game, at the end of the regular season. So Tennessee still has to play Georgia. Georgia also has a tricky game against Ole Miss. LSU's got to play Bama, an improving Florida team. Vandy, don't know about how good Oklahoma is. Probably not very good. And as you mentioned, you got Bama with LSU. Oklahoma, I don't know why I mentioned Oklahoma because no one's impressed with them. But then Alabama's got the Auburn game, and Auburn ain't any good. But it's a rivalry game, and you never know what's going to happen in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just had someone text me that Purdue looks awful. I assure you that if Indiana has one loss and Purdue is sitting there a 30-point dog or whatever, they will play up to Indiana. They will do whatever they possibly can to spoil Indiana's season in a rivalry game. I promise. I mean, that'll be harder than you think. So yeah, anything can happen in college football. I am curious your thoughts on what happened to the Cardinals here this past week. So they essentially let 6 people go. They declined the options on the 2 starters, Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, reliever Keenan Middleton, who never saw the mound, Paul Goldschmidt, Matt Carpenter, and then Andrew Kittredge also technically becomes a free agent. I wonder if they'll try to bring him back. What do you think about those 6?
Not surprised by the 3 pitching moves other than Kittredge, and that's not a surprise, but we'll get to him in a second. Lynn and Gibson, I think that was expected. I'm like everyone else. I still wonder if it still would be possible for Gibson to come back if he takes a half the salary or something like that he got paid last year, because they're going to have a lot of young pitchers, and he's a tremendous leader, and he's also a good, solid back of the rotation guy. And he wants to be here because he lives near here. So Gibson, I'm going to leave the door open, with a crack on him. But we have to also assume, at least for now, he won't be back. Middleton was an obvious thing. Goldschmidt, that's going to be tough. But listen, he has a say in the matter too, because he'll be 38 years old next August, and he's got limited time. I think he'd love to latch on with a winning team that has a chance to win a World Series. I wonder if they'll make room for Carpenter. I don't have an opinion on it. I just wonder if they'll do that. I think Kittredge has got to go because not because they don't want him back, but I think he'll be a coveted reliever on the free agent market, and I think he stands to make a lot of money. So that's kind of my initial read. I like the fact that we're going to see some young pitchers, starting pitchers, even bullpen guys. They're going to get a full shot next season. I like that. I think that's what this season's going to be about. I'm in favor of it because if you find out enough of these young pitchers and young hitters are really good, and that they performed in a way that you were hoping they would, then all of a sudden, Tom, your prognosis for 2026 looks a lot different, but you got to find out about these guys. And if they come through, then you can talk about 2026 being a different kind of year, not a rebuilding year, but a year where, hey, we think we can win, and we're not foreclosing on the idea of making the playoffs. So that's why 25 is so important. But they have to establish and reaffirm what they have, and all of these young guys are going to get an opportunity.
Let me throw that trio out to you. Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado. That's going to tell us a lot where those three are playing in 2025.
Well, that's right. And people have asked me this question a lot. It's like, well, if you were in charge, like, who would you want to trade? The answer would be Arenado, because of his age-related decline. The fact that, frankly, if you're in a rebuild, he ain't going to handle that very well. He's been on a lot of bad teams during his career. Losing affects him. There's a lot of negative energy. You can see it just by the body language. And, you also have a couple of young guys who can play third base. And I would like to see whether Nolan Gorman can be a really good third baseman, or even if Jordan Walker would go back to third base, which is a natural position. So you need to find out about a couple of guys who can play third for you. And you also, if you could offload most of that salary. So I would say that'd be the number one guy I'd like to see traded. But of course, he has a say in the matter too, which is no trade clause. And the other thing too is teams are not going to want to take on all that money for a guy that's had 2 down years in a row. So that's going to be a tough one to do. I still think there's a chance for Sonny Gray, and I hope so, because I think he's a leader, and I think he's a really good number 2 starter. The salaries kick in at a much higher level than his final 2 seasons. So maybe that gives the Cardinals some pause. But if he wants to stay here, I don't think it's like, oh man, I can't believe they're stuck with Sonny Gray. I'd be fine with that, but it's up to him and it's up to the Cardinals. And Contreras is interesting because I'm a huge fan. I know you are too. But the thing about Contreras is, let's face it. I mean, unless they want to make him a DH or move him to first base or something like that, they need to play. They have 4 legitimately good young catchers. They all have different strengths. Herrera, Pages, Jimmy Crooks, and Leonardo Bernal. I mean, the 2 guys I mentioned there at the end, these are legitimately good prospects and exciting in their own way. And so the Cardinals have more catchers than they know what to do with. And so that would make, to me, Contreras an obvious candidate to go. He has a no trade clause. And then you also have to wonder what the market would be for him and what the return would be.
That's a really good point. And I'll hold this one for tomorrow on the Gas House Gang. And I'm going to tell people about it in just a minute. But we are going to have a show tomorrow in which I'm going to ask all 3 of you, do you see any scenario in which the Cardinals can contend in the NL Central? Hold that, and that is going to be one of our topics tomorrow on the Gas House Gang. The Gas House Gang is a 4-person roundtable on Monday. Then we're going to pair up the rest of the week, noon, KMOX Sports Twitter and KMOX News Twitter. All of our social media channels will be on it. YouTube, our KMOX YouTube. That is really fun. I will say that Steve Moore, our program director, came up with this idea. And I think that already our trial runs on this have been super successful. I'm ready to run with this thing.
I enjoy doing these, and I was a big proponent, as you know, of doing them every weekday and being part of it. And I think it's really good discussion. We don't always agree on things. I think we absolutely tell the truth as far as what we feel about the Cardinals and this and that. I don't think anybody holds back whatsoever. And I just like the level of the discussion. I think it's really intelligent. It's very candid, and it's fun. We have a good time teasing each other as well.
It is. I agree with you. We do have some fun on that. So it is going to be all over the place. If you are looking for sports talk at noon, you will get it every day. And by the way, I've been asked 2 things. Will it be replayed on KMOX? Yes, it will. Every night at 8 o'clock. The second question is, will it be found in podcast form? The answer to that is yes. On Apple Podcasts, on Odyssey's app, and on our Cardinals Conversation page at KMOX.com. So it's everywhere. We're going absolutely bananas. I can't believe it.
It's awesome. It really is. A lot of people I know with some of my YouTube videos and all, they don't mind me going 30 minutes or more because they'll listen to the audio version, the podcast version, when they're walking or they're running or they're in the gym or whatever. So I'm just putting that out there for people who hadn't thought about that. You can listen to it podcast version. You don't have to watch it. You can listen to it at your convenience, no matter what you're doing. You're taking the dog walk or whatever. If it's a good way to help kill that time.
100%. It holds up. And I listen to Bernie Miklas's YouTube videos in podcast form on my drives. When I'm driving around town, I listen to you in the car. So I appreciate you, man. Well, it's awesome. You got to subscribe to Bernie Miklas's YouTube page. It's an absolute slam dunk. Bernie, thank you so much for this. Appreciate the visits on Sports on a Sunday Morning. We will talk to you tomorrow at noon.
Looking forward to it, Tom. Have a great rest of the weekend, my friend.
You too. It's on the Odyssey app as well. Bernie Miklas's visits and podcast and his YouTube page. It's just all happening here for KMOX. I'm really excited to have Bernie on board. Katie Shields, the SLU women's soccer coach, joins us next on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan from McKelvey Homes. This month, we're giving $18,980 off our homes in selected communities to celebrate 126 years of legendary quality and craftsmanship. In addition, our skilled craftsmen from the Mid-America Carpenters Union are offering McKelvey buyers up to $10,000 cash towards their new home for closing costs or lower interest rates. Combine these two incredible offers and save big on your McKelvey home. But hurry, this rare opportunity won't last long. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
A person makes the time for what they love.
And we make the space. 1-800-GOT-JUNK makes the space.
But we make the space for possibility.
The space for yoga.
The space for lifting weights.
The space for dancing.
The space for living your best life.
And what does a person need to do to make all this happen?
All you have to do is point.
We make space for possibility.
When you want to make junk disappear,
call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Fall is here. Football, beautiful weather, and the changing colors of trees and shrubs. When you think of your trees, call family-owned Gamma Tree Experts. Fall is a great time to prune and fertilize your valuable trees. Our staff of certified arborists will survey your trees to determine their needs. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree Experts at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. Welcome back to the show. Tom Ackerman with you. Great segment, last segment with Bernie Miklas, and we are joined now. I always have a good segment with her, and that's the head coach of SLU Women's Soccer, Katie Shields, especially after she wins, and she wins a lot. How are you, Katie? Good morning.
I'm doing well, Tom. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, congratulations on another win. You knocked off Davidson yesterday in the A10 quarterfinals, so you advanced to the semifinals of the Atlantic 10 tournament. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, taking on St. Joseph's, who beat Fordham.
Correct.
7 o'clock start at beautiful Herman Stadium. Let's talk about yesterday's win over Davidson, a 2-0 win. You know what jumps out at me is the fact that you have now recorded 7 consecutive shutouts in A10 championship play. That is actually amazing.
It is. It's remarkable. You think about all the scoring and you kind of forget about how good at times our defending has been. So another one last night. They're all important, but yeah, trying to keep that run alive.
You've had a great run in the A10 championship, 24-5-1 all time in these games. You have an 18-game winning streak going on. Yesterday's game specifically, what happened, what transpired that got you off to where you needed to be? You got the goal from Lucy Schwartz and a game-winning goal as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting matchup because we have not played Davidson since the COVID spring. So two teams that aren't as familiar with each other, just how the A10 scheduling lands. And so try to come out on our front foot, be our best self at Herman. I think we did that, created some good chances early. And then we've always prided ourselves on being very good on corner kicks, set pieces. And that's how Lucy Schwartz was able to find the back of the net pretty early, about the 9th minute. And that helped us get a hold of the game early.
You did. And then Lindsay Heckel added that penalty kick in the 59th minute, 4th PK of the season for her, 5th goal overall, and a win 2-0 over Davidson. And now what happens today? Do you review the video of that? Do you start looking at St. Joseph's, combination of the two?
Yeah, we're headed in shortly here to watch video from last night. We will do some regeneration recovery with the women that played a lot last night. Some others will get some training in. And then pretty quickly, we'll turn our attention to prepping for St. Joe's. And
what kind of a team do they present? They, as I mentioned, they were able to beat Fordham, a 5 seed over a 4 seed, Katie.
Yeah, they always have some tournament magic to them, it seems. So they'll definitely get our full attention. They've got a really great, experienced goalkeeper. She's a 5th-year senior. She had a great game when we saw them in the regular season. And then they're very committed defensively. They're organized. They're tough to break down. And then they got some pace, and they can get teams in transition on the attacking side. And so we got to be sharp in front of goal. We got to be stout defensively. And again, it's playoff soccer, win or go home. So just trying to keep getting better day to day with this group.
Yeah, you met them exactly a month ago, October 3rd, and tied them 1-1 in a regular season meeting. Katie Shields, the women's soccer coach at SLU, is with us. The other number that jumps out at me is that you outshot Davidson 27-5 overall. Now, shots on goal were 7-2, but 27-5. I mean, that is a big difference there. How do you describe your style of play?
We want to be dominating, suffocating, kind of miserable to play against, and create an abundance of chances. We talked about last night after the game, though. We weren't thrilled. We didn't feel we were as sharp. On 27 shots to only have 2 goals was a little disappointing. It was good enough for last night. Will it be good enough for Wednesday? We don't necessarily think so. So, we'll spend some time in front of goal these next few days and continuing to sharpen that piece of the game, because at playoff soccer, those margins become really, really important.
Your record is 12-1-6. And again, you're advancing to the semifinals on Wednesday night against St. Joseph's in the A10 tournament. Katie Shields, was there a time this year that was particularly disappointing, or where you felt like you bounced back in the best way possible? Was there a lull in the season for you?
I don't know about a lull. I do think we had back-to-back draws, Loyola Chicago, then to St. Joe's early on in the league. And that was disappointing. That wasn't up to our standard. We were dominating in those games and weren't effective at scoring. So, I think we learned, we grew, we've gotten a lot better in the last month. Some young women have stepped up, some of our newcomers. And then, we've had every team has adversity in its own ways. And I think we've come out the better side of a collective, adversity that we faced in different ways. So seasons always have winding journeys, and I like where this team has come out on the other side of that.
You've had so many great individual performances. I know this is a team game, but I know that in particular, Emily Gaby and what she's been able to do is very special. But you've had some other great individual performances, haven't you?
We have. And, Emily Gaby, we actually missed her for a few games down the stretch. She was out pretty ill. And last night was the first game you really felt like she was back. So in that window, even Hannah Larson we missed, who is a key player for us as well. Hope Kim and our freshman group has really stepped up, and Lucy Schwartz got the game winner last night, and she's been a key cog in the midfield as we've kind of found our groove. So every day you get a different one to step up, and then we're getting tremendous leadership from our back line. Katie Hauk in the back has really been a key kind of driver of us as we've gone down this home stretch.
You also have been outstanding at home, and another number to run by is, the fact that right now, this season, this team is so good at home, and historically, you're really good at home. What is it about the home field and the home atmosphere?
One, I think it's just the environment. The fans absolutely contribute to that, playing in front of a home crowd. Our women take a lot of pride in how incredible of a facility, a stadium, a surface, Herman Stadium is. And I think there's a comfort. Obviously, you're sleeping in your own bed. You're very familiar to how the ball bounces and rolls out there. But it's always been a mission of ours, a goal of ours, season to season, to be dominant at home. And this season, actually, we have a better record on the road. But going into the postseason, it definitely is a bonus to host.
That's an interesting point. I was going to note that as well. And then historically, over the last 96 games at Herman Stadium, 76, 9, and 11 with 61 shutouts during that stretch. Again, Wednesday, 7 p.m., it's SLU against St. Joseph's in the A10 semifinals. Before we go, I want to throw a basketball question at you real quick and just ask, what has the hype been, since we're going to broadcast the game tomorrow, SLU taking on Santa Clara at 2:00. What has it been like around campus with Josh Schertz and this new look basketball team? What's the buzz around there?
I think there's just a tremendous amount of excitement and just, looking forward to seeing how this group comes together. On a personal level, Josh has been an incredible addition to the department. He's gone out of his way to come out to our training sessions, talk with our women. He confide, him and I connect quite a bit. And I would say after we won the regular season championship, I got probably the most meaningful text from Coach Schertz, just congratulating us and really being thoughtful in how he did that. So he doesn't have a bigger fan in the department than me, and just excited to see his group come together and keep learning from him, because he's a master coach that we have, and I'm very happy he's in SLU Blue.
Yeah, he's really something behind the scenes. People just rave about him as a human being. And then, of course, Rebecca Tillett, who you're very close with, and they'll be playing on Monday as well. Now, the men are going to be in South Dakota playing in this classic in Sioux Falls. The women are going to be not far away in Vermilion. They're going to be playing South Dakota at 5:30 on Monday. And Rebecca was 2-0 in the exhibition season. She's got herself a team.
She does. And again, another, pretty loyal friend in the department, and coaches really show up for each other, maybe in some of your tougher moments. And so Rebecca's been fantastic this year, through maybe some of our disappointing draws, touching base, reaching out, going on walks. And we just chat about coaching and how you manage teams through the highs and the lows. And so excited to see her kick off with this campaign. She's got a great collection of veterans, some newcomers, and she set the bar pretty high for her program. And I'm excited to see what this next group does in year 3 for her.
Yeah, a lot of success over there on the campus of SLU, and it's good to see that synergy between coaches. Katie Shields, all the best to you Wednesday at 7 p.m. as you continue on in the A10 tournament at home. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Tom. Go Bills.
Katie Shields with us on KMOX. When we come back, we'll talk about the Blues with Blues executive Steve Chapman right here, Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-837-5050. That's 800-837-5050. 800-837-5050.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Woohoo! Another girls' night out. I'm so stressed from shopping. I couldn't find anything. Have you tried shopping jewelry television, JTV? I don't know. Everyone in my family is so different. JTV has thousands of jewelry styles, artisan, diamonds, pearls, colored gemstones, watches, even gift sets. I shop on TV and online.
New JTV customers save up to $40 when you shop jtv.com/radio.
Now, can you relax?
Yes. Another round?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Great night last night at Enterprise Center as the Blues beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. Final score was 4-2. And we are joined by Executive Vice President, Chief Operating and Financial Officer of the St. Louis Blues, Steve Chapman. It is great to have you back on KMOX. Chappie, how you doing?
I'm good, Tommy. Great to hear you, man. How are you?
I am doing great. What a win for the Blues yesterday. It comes at a cost as they lose Philip Broberg for who knows how long. Let me start with that, actually. And again, this is Steve Chapman, Executive Vice President, Chief Revenue and Marketing Officer. He is not the coach or the GM or anything like that. So we're not asking for an injury report necessarily, but just your feelings watching Broberg go down. Boy, I hope that's not for long.
Well, you hate to see any time, right? Especially when it's lower body like that, because you just don't know. But I tell you what, he has been as advertised, and you got to tip your cap to Army and our entire hockey operations department, because that has been an incredible pickup for the team. And, you know, to your point, we'll see. We'll find out what our medical crew comes back with on information, but we just hope he's back soon.
We know this. Everybody in that building loves Chief. And I know that Chief lost his job last year, but it happens in this business. And he is now the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but his heart will always be here. And you could see it last night, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you said everybody in the bill. Everybody in St. Louis loves Chief, including yours truly. I mean, just first of all, we're all indebted to leading the Blues to a Stanley Cup, and but beyond that, he's just genuinely a wonderful human being, and down to earth, salt of the earth. The kind of guy you walk into Obi Clark's or something and just he's sitting there having a beer with the regulars, and he's just one of those people that you just smile when you think of him. So it was great to see him get the ovation that he got last night. It was well deserved. Certainly was not surprising at all. You could tell that it hit him in the feels, as they say, and it was great to see him back. But at the same time, he's the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we're 2-0 against them, and so we've it seems like we've had some inspired play as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A 5-1 win up there, a 4-2 win last night, and maybe the people at the Hive there at Ballas and Old Ballas saw Craig Berube walked through the door. That's his spot, along with Obie Clark. Steve Chapman is with us, and this is a great time to go see the Blues, a 5-game homestand. After you vote on Tuesday, you can go see the Blues take on the Lightning. You got some seats available there.
We do. Yeah. Tuesday night against the Lightning. And like you said, the Blues are back in town for the next week or so. So battling through some injuries, but we've got some young guys that are playing hard. And, Tommy, a hockey season it's a marathon, and you just you don't get too high, don't get too low, and just keep working to get better. And hopefully we'll see that over the next week, but a good start for sure.
You have Country Music Night on November 7th as you'll take on the Utah Hockey Club. How are they enjoying the team in Utah from your estimation?
Well, it's gotten off to a great start. And first of all, a great ownership group there. The Smiths that also own the Utah Jazz. And, it's an interesting building because it was not originally built to hold ice. And so right now they have a number of limited seats. I think they've only got about 11 or 12,000 seats that actually have a full view of the ice, but they're packing the place. And Arizona's been, up and coming for a while, but they do have a lot of good young talent, obviously led by Clayton Keller. But if anybody goes out to Salt Lake to hit Park City to go skiing or hiking during the summer, it's a great city, and it's developing, and a lot of people are moving there, and so I think it will be very successful, and look forward to having them in the league.
You'll have a kids theme night November 9th against Washington in honor of Louis' birthday, and then Veterans Day on the 12th against Boston. It is military night at Enterprise Center, a great building to go see high-quality NHL action. It's always fun when these teams come into town and the Blues fans pack the place. And speaking of that, you're going to have a lot of people coming in for the Frozen Four. Now, my understanding is the tickets actually go on sale tomorrow morning. Is that right? Now, those are going to be gobbled up, aren't they, by possible contenders?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, first of all, it's very limited ticketing that remains available because there's a number of pre-sales that go on within the NCAA, and then there's some pre-sales that go on with Blues season ticket holders and so on and so forth. But there are some tickets that will go on sale tomorrow morning. If you're interested in the Frozen Four, which let me just talk about that for a second, Tom, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the greatest NCAA championship events that I've ever been to. You go to it, and there's about 9,000 or 10,000 fans who show up every year, and they don't even have a team playing in the championship, right? They're there representing their schools, wearing their sweaters, and they'll pick somebody to root for, but they just go to every single championship every year wherever it's at. And it's kind of a close-knit group. They all know each other or are familiar with each other. They're familiar with the event. And then the rest of the arena is, generally filled with the local hockey fans and the fans of the competing schools. And you see some great hockey. The atmosphere is unbelievable. I've had the pleasure over the last few years to attend probably about the last 7 or 8 of these things. And it's really something else. So if you can find tickets, I strongly encourage people to do it. It's just a great atmosphere and a great event.
I am with you on that. I went to the 2007 Frozen Four that was won by Michigan State. They beat Boston College, North Dakota, and Maine were in that. That was at Enterprise Center, and it was an absolute blast. I mean, every second of it was a lot of fun. And they set attendance records back then in 2007. So I'd get to ncatickets.com immediately tomorrow morning, 9:00 for the sale to the general public. You just never know what we'll see too. I mean, we might get one of our first round picks in there. It's possible.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, if Minnesota makes it to the Final Four, which I would say there's definitely a strong chance that they could, you might see a future St. Louis Blue playing. So that's exactly right. But it's a great event, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. And anyway, like you said, you saw it back in 2007. St. Louis always shows up for these big events, whether it's been our Winter Classic, whether it's been the All-Star game. I mean, obviously they showed up for the Stanley Cup, but it's a great town that supports its sports and its teams, and we're really looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well. And looking forward to this. This is kind of snuck up on us now, which is the Winter Classic. The Blues will be taking on the Blackhawks at Wrigley Field. You heading up there, Chappie?
We will be up there, yeah. Really quite an honor for the Blues, Tommy, if you think about it. I remember in 2017, we had to do a lot of lobbying to convince the National Hockey League to bring the Winter Classic to a Midwestern town. And really for the most part, it was either in a Buffalo or something like that, but it was also, it was always Boston, Chicago, New York. And I remember vividly, like they had actually recommended that we probably not do an alumni game because it would be tough to sell out 2 games. And we were like, you don't know St. Louis. And so sure enough, sold out, packed alumni game and, obviously packed the Winter Classic. But since that time, I think the response that they saw from, the fans of St. Louis, the fans of the Blues, obviously got us to an invite into Minnesota. That was an unbelievable event, probably the coldest, event I've ever been to in my life. I think it was -14 when we walked into Target that afternoon. And this year we get invited to play the Blackhawks in Chicago. So it's a testament to the St. Louis Blues. It's a testament to the St. Louis Blues fan base. It'll be an unbelievable experience to play this game in Wrigley Field. Should be a lot of fun.
Tickets are hard to come by, but scan those secondary markets and see what you can find from the Blues Blackhawks at Winter Classic. Just a reminder that the Blues do support Amendment 2 to legalize sports betting. In our final 60 seconds, Steve Chapman, why are the Blues joining other sports teams in that support?
I'm gonna make this really simple from a logical standpoint because everybody has their own personal views and don't want to really get into anything along those lines. It's really simple from this standpoint. Right now, tens of millions of dollars are flowing out of the state of Missouri and the surrounding states. Tens of millions of dollars. Right now, tens of millions of dollars are being wagered illegally within the state. So do you want this money taxed and you want it to go to a good cause and you want it to be regulated? That's really, I think, one of the main things. The second thing is obviously the ability to keep revenue within the state, to keep revenue to go to education and those sorts of things. We believe in it because obviously we know that it creates activation and the fans, we know just from our polling that our fans want it. But I just think at the end of the day, we can either keep money within the state of Missouri or we can send it outside the state of Missouri. And I hate to boil it down to something that simple, but I think it comes down to that. And so we support it for a lot of reasons, but I think that's a main one.
No, I understand. To hear that loud and clear, Steve Chapman, Executive Vice President, Chief Revenue and Marketing Officer for the St. Louis Blues. Thanks as always. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Tommy, thanks. Hey, congrats on your Hoosiers, man.
Oh, man. It is a dream. You know that. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Our brother.
Fellow Hoosier Joe Buck will be joining us here in just about 10 minutes, right after the 11 o'clock news. You're listening to Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals. KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Heather Bosch. The presidential nominees are making their final pitches 2 days before the election. Former President Trump.
I'm running against a totally corrupt person.
And I'm really not running against her. I'm running against a corrupt machine called the Democrat Party.
Trump is in Littis, Pennsylvania, but Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman tells CNN he's confident Vice President Harris will win the state.
She understands that you got to show up, and that's what she's done. And that's why, we're in a position to carry Pennsylvania.
A CBS News survey has Vice President Harris slightly ahead in the national poll of likely voters, but it's 50-50 in battleground states. CBS's Kamir Khanna.
We find that driving up the turnout of men who didn't vote 4 years ago could help Trump flip states like Pennsylvania and Arizona. On the other hand, if the Harris campaign can persuade 7% of Trump's 2020 backers to flip, she would win in the Electoral College with more than 300 votes.
People are assessing the damage after at least one tornado touched down in central Oklahoma. Oklahoma City Police Sergeant Rob Robertson.
We've had a neighborhood in the southeast part of Oklahoma City hit by a tornado. We've had 10 to 12 homes that were heavily damaged, some of them completely destroyed.
At least a dozen potential systems have been reported across the state. Winners are being crowned in the professional men's and women's heats of the New York City Marathon.
Sheila Chepkarui. She is the champion.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. Our attorneys will hold truck drivers and owners accountable. We stand up to big trucking companies to get you the compensation you deserve. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law today for a free review. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9 all zeros.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows. And save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC+. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.TV.
This November, you have a direct say in voting to retain our qualified and impartial judges. Missouri's nonpartisan court plan has been called a model for the nation and has been adopted successfully in over 30 states. The nonpartisan court plan ensures our judges are selected based on their qualifications and ethical standards, not politics. It is important that you vote yes to retain our judges this election cycle. On November 5th, don't skip the judges. Vote yes to retain our qualified and impartial judges. Paid for by citizens from Missouri courts. Sidney Dooley, Treasurer.
At 11:04, cloudy skies, 62 downtown at the Arch. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story this hour, the convenience of early voting is proving to be really popular across the metro.
The latest figures show nearly 39,000 voters have cast absentee in-person ballots in St. Louis City as of Saturday afternoon. That's just under 14% of the city's voters. In the county, a little over 200,000 voters have voted absentee in the same way. The County Board of Elections estimates that means about 20% of county voters have already voted through an in-person absentee ballot. County BOE officials also say over 32,000 absentee by mail ballots have also come in. Early voting ends Monday. Julie Carpenter, KMOX News.
The city is advancing a new housing development. The Board of Aldermen approved a bill Friday. It includes a 7-story building to house 173 units of an apartment complex. The $42 million building will offer 20 affordable housing units and is planned to break ground in January. It'll be at the southwest corner of Clayton and Sarah. City leaders have approved a measure that would help cybersecurity for the St. Louis Emergency Management Agency. Friday, the board approved a bill that allocates a grant for nearly $200,000. It also requires a local match of about $50,000. The bill's approval will help strengthen communication systems in the event of a cybersecurity disaster. Mostly cloudy today, a couple of showers around, maybe even a storm, 72. Overnight, really warm, 67. Tomorrow, showers and storms continuing, 73. For Election Day, possibility of storms, 69. And then mid-60s on Wednesday and Thursday. Looks like the rain will move out by then. It's 61 right now in St. Peter, 60 in Florissant, 62 cloudy downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. Great to hear from Scott Jagow there. Our producer is Drew Young, and we have a crowded studio today. We have Sergeant Butch Crowley, Lake St. Louis Police Department. It's an honor to have you here. His son, Chase Crowley, is here, 15 years old, and wants to be a sportscaster. Joining us is one of the most accomplished sportscasters in the history of television, and that is KMOX alum Joe Buck. Joe, do you remember when you were 15 and an aspiring sportscaster?
Yes, I'd been working for 11 years with the Cardinals at that point.
Yes, you had. You absolutely had. What was that like back then?
Getting picked up from school by my mommy and then going down and doing Cardinal games. It was a fun time. It makes me, when you said that and you introduced the two of them, it was like my dad's line that he used to always use on young people that would come up to him and ask him, what do I need to do to get into broadcasting? And he would look at me and say, start with a famous dad. And, we're not all that lucky. I was, and I've tried to take as much advantage of it as I could.
Well, you had such a special father and somebody who was able to show you that. And I think that's important, is that we show these kids what it's like behind the scenes and let them grow into it. I've heard you say this on several podcasts and shows, that when people introduce you with all of your accomplishments, and it should be reminded, I mean, what you've done is incredible, that sometimes you're a little embarrassed by it. Like, you still think of yourself as that young Joe, just trying to sort of find his way. I think that's natural. I feel that way sometimes. I'll bet you that the best of the best would, if they let their guard down, would tell you that sometimes they still think of themselves as that young sportscaster.
Yeah, I would like to think so. I think it's one of the great advantages of being my dad's son for me, is to, it always felt kind of natural to slide over one seat because of the care that my dad took to really introduce the profession to me and show me all the great things that it brought to his life. And, I was a kid just trailing around after him, and of course I wanted to be him. Of course I wanted to do what made him, even at his sickest, get up off the couch and go down to be around the players at 3:30 in the afternoon and get ready for a 7:00 broadcast. But yeah, I mean, I'm 55. I still think of myself as a 25-year-old guy. And I just got off the phone with Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield and Liam Cohen, who's the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I still think of myself as younger than all those people, and I'm not. But it's just the way that internal dialogue goes. And eventually, I guess when I'm finished with all this, I'll sit back and think about all the stuff that I've been lucky enough to get to do. But until then, I'm just going to keep operating as I guess in my mind, Jack Buck's son, and somebody who's lucky to get to head to Kansas City and do a Monday night game tomorrow night.
Well, it keeps you humble and honest and young. And I see, Chase, see what I was saying back in the office, how it moves by fast. It does. I mean, the years will fly by. I'll tell you this, Joe. Last Saturday, when I was sitting there in the grass lot across from Memorial Stadium with my fraternity brothers, with a beer in my hand in the morning, and the stadium rocking with game day on the other side, I felt like I was 21. I mean, I was in absolute heaven last week. And then Indiana goes out and drills Washington. And then our alma mater did it again, Joe. They go up to Michigan State, toughest challenge probably that they've had so far, and just put it on the Spartans. 47 consecutive points. I don't even know what to say anymore, except I have a permanent smile on my face.
Yeah, I mean, if people are tired of me and Troy talking about IU football on Monday night, I don't care. I mean, I'm so sick of hearing from the Notre Dame fans and the USC fans and the Michigan fans and, right on down the line, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, every year I'm so sick of the same teams over and over and over again. And finally, I mean, I got there in '87. I got there the semester after the basketball team won the national championship. And the football team was pretty good back then. I mean, Trent Green was the quarterback, Anthony Thompson, a good running back. Bill Mallory was the head coach, but there still really wasn't anything to get that excited about nationally. And now to see, not only are they 9-0, but I mean, they're legit. All three phases of the game, outstanding. Their defense is really good. Their special teams are good. And then the offense, it was impressive yesterday at Michigan State. And I'll be there next week. You got to be there for the Washington game. I get to be there for the Michigan game. And I'm going to be sitting there with my fraternity brothers, probably having a beer in the morning and getting ready for a big 3:30 tilt against Michigan. And I think they opened up at a 12.5-point favorite, which, I mean, for those of us who've been long suffering is just kind of hard to imagine.
Yeah, people have to understand that Nebraska is one thing, and that was awesome. And Washington, another big national brand, is another great win. But there is something very different about Michigan being there and seeing that uniform and the fact that they've handed it to IU through the years. That place, Joe, you will not believe it. I mean, it is beyond what you're even thinking right now. It will be loud and boisterous, and those fans have been waiting a long, long time. Kurt Signetti, you like for a living, you sit in with coaches in these production meetings. Would I do anything to be in a production meeting with Kurt Signetti, to pick his brain?
He came into our production meeting about 3 weeks ago. Our producer, Steve Ackle, set it up, and he was like a special surprise guest on a Zoom call during our production meeting on a Monday. I'm trying to think of where we were, but it was about 3 weeks ago. And I mean, very serious, but able to have a little bit of fun. And, I'm with you. I think he's no nonsense. I've never seen a head coach on a sideline stand the way he stands. Pay attention to it. He's got kind of that look on his face, but he stands with his hands on his hips, with his fingers kind of down, his elbows bent, and he's just got this pose on the sideline. And I know those players know that they don't mess with the guy. And when he came there and he said whatever the exact quote, I don't know, but like, I win, Google me.
That was it.
We talked to him about it, and he said, I had to right out of the gate kind of just say this is going to be different than it's been, and I'm not going to go in and soft pedal this thing. We're going to be confident. You can tell they're well coached. It's why Aikman loves them. I mean, he's such a stickler for the way guys come off the ball, receivers, and they're very well coached. So, yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait to watch that game next weekend, to be there and enjoy it, and then get a 5 a.m. pickup from the hotel and head to Indianapolis to fly to Los Angeles to do a Monday Night Football game. It'll be well worth the headache I'll fly with to LA.
Yes, it will. That is a dedicated IU fan. I love that. And I will be at the Mizzou-Oklahoma game, so they're going to be like, hey, where did Dad go? I'm like trying to find TVs at the tailgate to watch IU Michigan. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, no doubt. Exactly. And I love that CBS crew. I love really those crews that have been together for a while, where you have Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jenny Dell on the sidelines. There's like a comfort and a familiarity with those voices, and that it's a big game. I do feel that way. I'm going to embarrass you here for a little bit, but I feel that way with you and Troy. Like when you and Troy are on a game, you have such good chemistry. I know that it's not only a big game, but I feel comfortable. There's a comfort in hearing your voices together. It's something to have on in the house and have the game on. Do you hear that from people? The fact that the two of you have been together for so long, and do you feel that in the booth?
Yeah, I mean, 23 years together will do that, and we've been lucky to not mess it up before we hit the air on Monday night. Who knows then? But I think people can hear a true friendship that comes over the air. He knows that he can joke with me and vice versa, and we're there for each other and trying to pick each other up. So it's a good feeling. And, that's the way for people my age, if it is true, that I certainly felt with Summerall and Madden. And I feel that way whenever I hear Al do a game. It's just like a comforting, this is a game that I should be watching and listening to. And I think that just comes over time. So whether it's, Tom Brady starting out this year and him settling in or, whatever the case may be, I think that's what ESPN was buying when they got us to come from Fox. And I'm glad it holds true at a new network.
That place will be revved up tomorrow. This. They have not played a home game at Arrowhead Stadium in about a month. The Chiefs will finally be at home taking on Tampa Bay. The Chiefs are 7-0. How have they done this, Joe, from your observation?
Two guys, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And when we talked to Andy, he said that, the great play callers, and he's one of them. I think in today's game, there'd be two more, be Kyle Shanahan and Sean Payton. I think while they'd love to have all their guys healthy, and Andy would love to have Hollywood Brown, and he would love to have Isaiah Pacheco, and he would love to have Rashee Rice, and now they've lost another tight end during practice this week. That while they would love to have all those guys healthy, I think they like the challenge of trying to find new ways to win and put responsibility on new players that nobody expected to be heavily involved when the season started. So, I'm just looking at my board right now, and Kelsey's coming off his best game, but Noah Gray always steps up. They added DeAndre Hopkins. They brought Kareem Hunt back. They just find a way. And at the end of the day, and at the end of every play, when it breaks down, Mahomes is just spinning around in circles and, throwing sidearm or underhand or whatever it is to get the ball forward, to get a big first down, and they just keep winning. And I think the other side of it is they're winning with defense. And Steve Spagnuolo, our friend from his days as the head coach here in St. Louis with the Rams, has been amazing. I think you could make the case that he's a Hall of Fame assistant, having won 4 Lombardi trophies as an assistant coach. I think he's just been phenomenal. And so however it has to get done, it's getting done. I was surprised that this is the first time Patrick Mahomes has been 7-0. But they will give Tampa Bay obviously all they can handle tomorrow night.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one for sure. We will have it for you on the KMOX side. The radio crew will be right here, our Chiefs crew with Mitch Holtis, Dane and Hughes. Joe Buck will call it with Troy Aikman on the ESPN Disney family of networks on Monday Night Football. So good at what you do. And are you anything else going on in your world outside of Monday Night Football? Are you narrow focused on Monday Night Football at this point, Joe?
Yeah, that's it. That's all with twin 6-year-olds that this 55-year-old has the capability of covering anymore.
Well, you're great at it, and I know you're a great dad, and I appreciate you, and thank you as always for coming on your radio station, KMOX. We love you, Joe, and thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Anytime, Tom.
Go Hoosiers.
IU.
Go Hoosiers.
Go IU.
Let's go. Joe Buck with us on KMOX. We're going to take a break. When we come back, NFL picks, and then we get you to Cowboys Falcons 11:30 pregame right here on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. This could be your final opportunity to secure the carefree villa home of your dreams at the Preserve in Afton, free from the hassles of lawn care, landscaping, and snow removal. With prices starting in the 400s, we will build to order or select from one of our 6 move-in ready designer market homes and save thousands, and also receive $10,000 cash to close from the skilled craftsmen of the Mid-America Carpenters Union for closing costs or bite on your interest rate. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
If you're thinking of getting new hardwood, carpet, laminate, or vinyl flooring at one of those big box or discount stores, put it on hold. as in Reinhold. Reinhold Flooring, covering St. Louis and beyond since 1988. Residential or builder, you'll find everything you need in our showroom on Telegraph. When it comes to investing in your home, you want the best in carpet, laminate, vinyl flooring, or area rugs. Put those others on hold with Reinhold Flooring. Stop by Telegraph Road or learn more at reinholdflooring.com.
A person makes the time for what they love.
And we make the space. 1-800-GOT-JUNK makes the space.
But we make the space for possibility.
The space for yoga.
The space for lifting weights.
The space for dancing.
The space for living your best life.
And what does a person need to do to make all this happen?
All you have to do is point.
We make space for possibility.
When you want to make junk disappear,
call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
In the 70s, while still putting up Hall of Fame numbers, local baseball legend Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
And our area's never been the same. This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
So from now on, when you need an electrical solution or fix at your home, get it done fast, good, by a Hall of Fame company that's got it going on.
JerryKelly.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
Moments like my daughter telling me a new joke mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
And a key block by the left guard, Tom Ackerman. And right here, let's go downstairs to Bonus.
Marv, if you remember that big run Robert Holcomb had on the first drive, one of the guys responsible on help busting him loose was Tom Ackerman.
Tom Ackerman up front, and this is a unit that has played very well. A good night for Eddie George, 21 carries, 74 yards. The left guard, Tom Ackerman, with the block that set him free. It's a first down.
Boy, I was just shoving people out of the way, man. No, of course, that is the former offensive lineman with the Saints and the Titans, Tom Ackerman, my namesake from Eastern Washington. I am the broadcaster, and I have some NFL picks for you in our next 5 minutes before we take you to Cowboys-Falcons. Did you know that in our last two visits together on these Sundays, if you followed my picks, you did very, very well against the spread? I went 10-2-1 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I went 10-3 against the spread with these picks. Now, last week, oddly enough, when I was off and Joe Pott was doing the show, I did the picks on my own. I didn't broadcast them, but I did them while I was in Indiana, and I went 6-7. So it happens, but I didn't give you those picks, so you did not suffer. And 6-7 is not terrible. I mean, you would have basically broken even had you bet them all. I don't know why you would do that. But anyway, here we go. Let's do these. And I've been on a tear here. Let's start with today's game on KMOX, Dallas and Atlanta. The Cowboys are terrible. I'll just put it out there. They have real problems. The Falcons are -3 in this first game of the day. Something tells me that the Cowboys are going to show up for this game. I have this feeling that as bad as they are, and they got absolutely routed by Detroit, but they played okay against San Francisco last week. They lost 30-24. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to take them +3 at Atlanta. Today on KMOX, a desperate Dallas Cowboys team at 3-4. Maybe it's because I don't totally believe in the Atlanta Falcons just yet. Atlanta's good. Don't get me wrong. They've won 4 of 5 and won at Tampa Bay last week, 31-26. But Tampa Bay is all banged up, and they hung in the game against Atlanta. I don't know. Anyway, that's the KMOX game that's coming up here at 11:30 pregame, Dallas and Atlanta. I got the Cowboys +3. Miami at Buffalo. This one is a slam dunk. Take it to the bank. The Bills -6. I don't see any other way around it. The Bills are awesome, and the Dolphins are struggling. And I don't see how this thing is only 6. I don't know what I'm missing, but I got Buffalo -6 all day long. In fact, if I were playing a lock of the week pool, I'd take Buffalo. That's how much I believe in it. Las Vegas at Cincinnati. Now, I had Cincinnati going to the Super Bowl, and they're 3-5. Desperate team, desperate measures. Spread is big, 8. Hate it. But I'm going to take it anyway. Bengals -8 at home against the Raiders. Chargers at Cleveland. Cleveland with a nice win last week, upending the Baltimore Ravens, 29-24. They take on a pretty good Chargers team and taking them on at home. And to my surprise, they are a dog at home against the Chargers. Give me Browns +1.5. I'm good with that. New England at Tennessee. The Patriots surprised, maybe some would say the Jets. I just don't believe in the Jets, but the Patriots had lost 6 in a row before beating the Jets last week. They get up for that Jets game all the time. They're 3.5-point dogs at Tennessee today. Woof. I'll ride the momentum. Give me Patriots +3.5 on the road. Don't love the Titans. Washington at the Giants. I'll take the Commanders -4. I really, really like this Washington team. They're 6-2. They'll keep it rolling. New Orleans at Carolina. Carolina's brutal. So is New Orleans. Give me Carolina +7 at home. As bad as they are, they'll make a game out of it, won't they? Denver at Baltimore. Boy, I feel sorry for the Broncos. Ravens are going to take it out on them. I'll take the Ravens -9, even with 9 points. I like the Ravens -9. Chicago at Arizona. Oh, the Bears got kicked in the gut on that Hail Mary by Jaden Daniels. They are a 1.5-point dog at Arizona. I'm going to go with the Cardinals -1.5 at home. Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Give me the Eagles -7.5. Detroit at Green Bay. Did you know that this is the first game of the season for the Lions outdoors? They've played every game this season inside. And not for that reason, but I got a sneaking suspicion that they're going to fall at some point. As good as they are, and they're the best team in the NFC, I think the Packers are going to be ready for them. This is a big divisional game. Packers are 6-2. They are no slouch. And I like them +2.5 at home against the Lions today. Rams at Seattle. Rams a little banged up at receiver, but it's still a nice team. Give me Seahawks +1, though. Indianapolis at Minnesota. I love the Vikings here. Vikings -5.5. They will bounce back. And then Monday Night Football, Chiefs -9 all day long against the Bucks. This is
This is the NFL on Compass Media.